Good day, everyone, and what an honor it is to be joining you in this event today. Again, I'm Irene Camacho. I'm from the Healthway Medical Network of the Ayala Group, and I am so thrilled to be moderating the panel discussion on Women in Tech, Celebrating Success Stories in Technology Development. So this panel discussion is very timely as we are still celebrating the International Women's Month. Woo! Women in the house! Without further ado, I'd like to call on our panelists. Of course, the Cybersecurity Woman and Evangelist and the AFP spokesperson. Yeah. So we have here our very own Colonel Francel, Margareth, Padilla-Taborlupa. We also have here the Chief Information Security Officer of Aboitiz Equity Ventures Incorporated, Ms. Charmaine Valmonte. And of course, the last but definitely not the least, the Vice President of the ICT Council, our ICT Industry Council of the Philippines, Ms. Shera and Sabbun. A warm round of applause, please, to our panelists. For the first question, so how do you personally define innovation and what role does it play into transforming you into the unstoppable force you are today? Colonel Francel, all right.
Nobody's trying to look at her eyes. So good morning, everyone. For innovation, of course, it's like something deriving from something that's already existing, right? Mm-hmm. So we want to try to utilize innovation in ways of looking at how it will help us in the present and how it will move forward towards the future needs of the organization, so to speak. So for us, it's like trying to see what seemingly is impossible be possible. So in our case, in my battalion in the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Philippine Army, we came up with something to put into practice the theoretical knowledge that was given us during our schoolings. So we came up with the Cyber for Peace initiative, and that initiative actually takes the role of cyber in a different context towards looking at the possibility of the cyber domain, being used in the context of peace building. And so this has already been, it's not a novel idea. So we just try to trickle it down the space to the Philippines, and we have been doing a lot of different activities to propel it forward, especially at the grassroots in communities in the Philippines. So I think that's one very good example of putting things into practice and making innovation work for us in ways that are sustainable as well.
All right, so it's like putting things into practice. Thank you, Colonel Francel. I think, Ms. Charm, you're ready.
All right. So one of the questions you had was really about, security versus innovation, right? So I kind of think about this in three areas. The first is perspective, right? There's always going to be this misconception that technology, IT, and security are unaligned, right? We always say, oh,
unfortunately,
the
sometimes
security is saying no, right? But really, it's a perspective. And we have to change that perspective. And that sense that security is the brakes to your innovation is not really something that we need to think about. The perspective should change in such that we're the seatbelt in a car so that you can move faster, right? That's what security needs to be. So that's perspective, changing how we think. The second is alignment, right? When the innovation starts moving, they want to move fast, right? So the key as a security professional, if you're in that space, is we need to align with our technologists early in the process, even at the ideation stage, right? Why is that? So that early on, we're able to say, I understand where you're going, and this is how we can go faster. If we do it securely, right, then you will propel that project, that initiative forward. The third is really about mindset. Security professionals think of things in terms of systems, right? We think of things and say, what are you made out of? You're going through a server, an endpoint, and you're going to go through a firewall. That used to be how we thought. Today, we need to think in terms of data. Where is that data going? Forget the system. Follow the data. And then secure the most important data, right? Because you can't practically secure everything. It's impossible. But securing where you know where that data is going, right? It's going to the cloud, it's going through a machine. Follow that data process instead of thinking, oh, there's a system. There's a physical machine or so. So that's something that we need to think about. So quite simple. It's perspective, right? Alignment, and then mindset.
Thank you, Miss Charm. So do you still remember the PAM? Yeah, so we have perspective, alignment, and mindset. Thank you so much for that. And I like the seatbelt idea. Anyways, thank you, Miss Charm. All right. How about Miss Shera? So, do I need to repeat the question? Yeah. So, how do you define innovation?
Well, basically, I totally agree with the two ladies here. No, innovation is really of defining ideas, ideation. No, wherein you have to convert it into a tangible outcome that needs to have an impact, right? That is innovation. And simply put, idea, outcome, and make sure that the outcome will have, the benefit really that, the people, technology, whatever it is. So simply put, it's like that, So, and that innovation actually, it's not just a mindset, but actually it speeds up everything. And it's like in a car, it's a gasoline, it's a gasoline wherein you go forward, you move forward. As soon as you reach to a certain point, then you come out with something new again, right? So as you go along, innovation doesn't stop. It really is an evolving thing wherein, the creative side of things, happens. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Shera. So yeah, the innovation is like the gas, that powers the engines. Yeah, from seatbelt to gas. All right, so do we have representatives here from the government? Can I show a raise of hands? Because this question, I think, matters to you. All right, so how can regulatory frameworks encourage or reimagine to become a catalyst or a turbocharger instead of being a roadblock? Yes, Colonel Francel.
I think you have to take it into the context of not being a roadblock, but like a catapult of sorts. So it's supposed to propel you forward. The very term itself that says framework gives it the notion of being a guide, something that would stabilize the situation, so to speak, of every organization. So with that, you have to use it to your advantage, because it's always best not to reinvent the wheel, because that's the very reason why these frameworks were created, because they saw a problem that needs to be guided accordingly on how organizations can be able to synergize their efforts to one another. So I guess that's it, no? Over and above it being a roadblock, it's supposed to be something that is welcomed, and that's something that catapults you towards accomplishing more in your organizations.
All right. Thank you, Colonel Francel. Yes? Okay. How about you, Shera?
Well, I totally agree with Colonel Francel, no? And just to give you an example, for the government per se, smart cities, no? I think there was a memorandum before with the previous administrations. I don't know, I forgot already. Wherein it was mandated that all these LGUs will have to have at least a command center for each of the LGUs, no? So that framework, it isn't a roadblock, but I agree. It is something that will give guidance to everyone to achieve one commonality, to have peace and order for that particular, whatever agreement or that the government would want, the Philippines to achieve on a national level. And I think us will always embrace, no, and set into mind wherein we should align, no, because that will really give us a balance of everything, no. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you. How about Ms. Charm? Any comment?
So, like ma'am here was talking about, in the military, we have what we call mission essential task list, or the 5 basic things you need to know. You get up, you do these 5 things. Every single soldier does these 5 things over and over and over. Why is that? That's like a regulation, isn't it? Right? And the reason for structure is that it allows you to move and improve in any capacity, in any place, anywhere in the world. I bet you, me and Francel are from the same type of military outfit, the Army. She's in the Philippine Army, I'm in the US Army. But I bet you if we went to the field, we would practically do the same things. Why is that? We follow the same regulation. But we do it differently, and that's where the innovation comes into place. That's where the design, that's where everything you can think about that's outside of that, within those parameters, allows you to propel and move fast. And if things break down, we also have a structure to manage the situation, right? We may not speak in the same language, or we may not work in the same areas, but I bet you we follow the same core values. We follow the same regulation. So that's the key. Early on, like we said, we want to go fast, right? So if we're going to attribute it as a story about the car, the seat belt, the gas, guess what? We're on the road and we have to follow what? Direction and the rules, right? We have to know when to stop. The red means stop, green means go. And everything moves fast and in place.
All right. So Brendan said we only have 3 minutes left. Anyways, all right. So we're down to the last 3 questions. That's so unfortunate. All right. So what were the biggest obstacles you faced as a woman innovator, and how did you overcome them? It's like, how did you turn adversity into your greatest ally?
Well, basically into I'm in the industry. We're all in the industry. We're in, admittedly, this is a man-dominated industry, right? So I think as a woman, initially that was my initial, I couldn't say it's an obstacle, but it's not common at that time. But eventually, as things go on, being now part of an NGO, the ICT Industry Council of the Philippines, and also PixPro, we're in, you as a leader, as a woman leader, it is now being embraced, no? And I think this is something important, that not just equality, but I think it is more on the intention. It has to be intentional. As a leader, whether you're a man or a woman, it has to be intentional. So, yeah. Thank you.
For my case, it's the same with Shera, no? We're in a very male-dominated world. So you really have to prove yourself to be able to command your men with respect, being a woman at the helm of command. And now, as the AFP spokesperson, it's the first time they designated a woman in 88 years So how do you project the armed forces of the Philippines, being a woman, that you're still gonna be in command, in direct control of any situation? So now with all of the political issues, how do you act as the barometer that keep things together? No, so this is really a very big challenge for us in the armed forces of the Philippines. But we acknowledge that the AFP has embraced diversity and inclusivity, and we're really very thankful for that, that giving the women the opportunity and the chance to prove themselves, that they can be at par with the men in this field. So that was the greatest challenge I have. And thankfully, I am already 1 year or so in
Congrats.
my role. So at least I did not put the dreams of the next generation down the drain.
Of course.
So at this point in time, we are now mentors at this point. And so the younger generations was really ready to embrace also the world of STEM, women in STEM. Feel free to approach us, and we're really very, very welcome to guide you and mentor you accordingly. Thank you.
How about Ms. Charm?
So one of the key things, the biggest adversity you're going to face, whether you're a man or a woman, is called imposter syndrome.
Imposter
Right?
syndrome?
Am I ready for this? Am I ready for having the seat at the table? Right? Can I do this? That's debilitating. Personally, I went through that process as well. But the most important factor you need to remember is that you were invited to that table because they believe in your potential. They believe in your experience. You bring something to the table. So it takes a bit of time. Again, have mentors and be a mentee, right, as well. So one of the key things to remember is you were invited to the table for a reason. Whatever it may be, you bring something to that table, and everybody knows you deserve that seat. So there's nothing to be afraid of. Be authentic, be yourself, and base it on your experience and grit, right? Grit.
Thank you so much, Miss Charm. All right, I think, one last question. That's so unfortunate. All right, so what advice do you have for women like us who dare to dream of taking leadership not only in IT or cybersecurity, but also in any niche they choose to conquer and dominate?
I think I've already shared this earlier. Be intentional. Whatever it is that you would want to move forward for yourself, whether it's in your career, personal life, or what have you, be intentional. Yeah.
I just would like to resonate with what Charm has said, no? She said that we deserve a seat on the table. Because we deserve that seat on the table, I think if we are not invited to the table, we should bring our own chair.
Wow.
So women always has the different flavor to offer in any conversation. We're very particular to details. We're detail oriented. So we really are there to offer something different and be part of the team, so to speak. So if you are a team player, you'll get places.
Wow, be intentional. And can I have that chair now? I need it. Thank you, Brendan. And of course, Miss Charm.
All right. So it's funny how you asked that question because I'm actually publishing a book before the end of this month. So this is like me saying, okay, watch out. End of the month, I'm putting out a book. It's going to be on Kindle. And it's called Commanding Cyber. Interestingly. So it's a deliberate women's CISO master plan. Right? And there were 6 things that we share in this book. And I can't say I because there's many security professionals out there like me, no? First is design your path. You know what you have done over the course of many years in your career. The second, if you're technical in nature, understand business, build the business acumen. If you're more on the business side, management side, bring in those technical experts and allow them to teach you, right? And you will learn, believe me. Overcome doubt, again. Bring your seat. Take the seat, right? And then lead through crisis, right? Women are really good when there is a crisis, believe it or not. Why? Because we're calm. right? We bring some calmness to the table and say, wait a minute, let's take a step back. And then let's understand the situation and move smartly, right? And the last thing I'm going to say is find balance. Everybody heard the word of work-life balance?
Yes, yes.
Erase that notion. It's balance, period. Your calendar is from 8 to 5, right? Do you put anything on your calendar that's before 8 and after 5? Start working on those. Put in the quality time. Put in the exercise time. Put in the fun time in that calendar. That's what it's for. So balance, work or life, it's straight balance. You need all of it.
All right, so be intentional, bring your own chair, and yeah, find a balance. Thank you so much to our dear panelists.